All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Double on Our Body Transformation podcast. And before we just get started, I just want to apologize that my voice is a little fucked. So I might be coughing. Excuse me, I might sound a little husky. But hey, you know what? I gotta put in the fucking work, right? To provide you guys with some valuable content. So yeah, but sorry. Before we just get started, I just want to let you guys know that whatever that's mentioned in this podcast is solely for podcast/video, whatever the hell you want to call it, is solely for educational and entertainment purposes only. Please don't do any of the stupid things that I do myself or provide my thoughts and opinions on. It's solely for educational and entertainment purposes only. And whatever you want to do, please do it at your own risk. And before you do it, please consult a physician. And that's about it. So, whoops, I zoomed in, zoomed out. Now that the disclaimer is off and I've saved my butt basically from whatever, let's get started. So in today's video/podcast, I'm going to be doing a case study on me helping my client gain muscle. So his name is Saint Robert. He's a dating coach. He helps men become the best version of themselves, and he helps men meet the type of girls whom they like without relying on alcohol in day-to-day social situations, etc. Coffee shops, gyms, on the streets, instead of drinking a ton of alcohol, growing a pair of balls, and yeah, like just telling hi to that girl basically at 3 a.m. in the fucking nightclub, right? So he's a pretty cool dude. And he's a digital nomad. And he travels the world. And he does a little bit of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So this is his picture about this person is natural. So we ended his cut at something like 77, 76, 77. And now we're at 83 kilos. We started off at something like 96 kilos basically. I don't know. I'm probably going to be posting the statistics right here above. We started in the early to the mid 90s when it came to his body weight, and he was one of those typical skinny fat dudes, extremely tall. So I had to get him to drop body fat first to get him to resensitize himself, work around his injuries, accumulate some consistent training practices, because he came from a background of all of this bullshit around Tim Ferriss, eating habits, the P90X, all of those fat diets, but didn't really know how to do things around training, nutrition in pretty much each and every situation that he faced, right? So first we had to establish like certain baseline habits, like good calorie tracking, understanding what's proteins, what's carbohydrates, what's fats, and get him to drop anywhere between like 10 to 13% body fat. I'm not really concerned with the number, but I'm concerned with the look. So this was his end point of his first cut, which we did in 2025. And it was a long-term cut, right? It was a fucking pain in the ass. But the first time when you drop body fat, it's going to be your longest cut. And then immediately after you drop body fat, right? You don't want to fuck around. You want to slowly and steadily phase out while slowly and steadily increasing your calories. Don't do the shit that I did. But this guy was pretty rational. But I didn't get this guy like really, really lean, because he's not a bodybuilder, right? He is just someone who wants to look good, look a little fuckable, right? Just like the rest of the dudes out there, including me, right? All of us want to look fuckable for the girls. Well, not me anymore. I mean, that was my earlier motivation a couple of years ago. But what I did was we got him to his leanest settling point. From there, I slowly and steadily increased his calories by anywhere between 150 to 250 in the first few weeks, let his weight stabilize, and then once when his weight stabilized, I had him stay at the same particular weight and increase training performance. And once when his training performance halted, right, Then I made like a subtle 125 to 150 caloric increment, mainly from carbohydrates, till we brought him up to anywhere between something like 300 to 450 grams of carbs per day. I'm still trying to push in more carbohydrates, because more carbohydrates when it comes to building muscle, in my opinion, is better, because your muscle is only made up of a finite amount of protein, little bit of fat, a lot of water, and a moderate amount of glycogen, which is basically the broken down version of carbohydrates, right? Starchy carbohydrates. So, and we increased this training frequency from 3 days per week to 4 days per week, because right now he's got enhanced recovery because of more food, better sleep, and not being in a caloric deficit. So, yeah. And slowly and steadily, as you can probably see from his first, like, before picture, there was no delts, there was no shoulders, there was no arms, and right now his delts look a bit more rounder, they look a bit more fuller. Obviously this guy is natural, so the changes that you probably see in 10 months is going to be so subtle, but it's going to be there. And you want to be running a muscle gaining phase for, I mean, anywhere between 16 to 30 weeks, like probably the longer the better, in my opinion, right? Some people in the bodybuilding community or in the health and fitness community will probably tell you anything about 16 to 24 weeks, you're not gaining muscle, you're taking your own sweet time. But my personal opinion as a coach is that the longer you spend in a caloric surplus, the more the muscle is going to solidify around your bone structure, and the more it's going to become permanent, so that when you do cut back calories and go in a fat loss phase and drop body fat, you're going to be holding on to that muscle better. Because when your calories are low, when you're getting lean, your chance of losing muscle is going to be there. It's going to be there with everyone. Like, and how much of that you lose, and how much of the loss you limit comes down to your day-to-day practices, like what type of food you're eating, right? Is it like high in protein, high in nutrients? Are you on top of your sleep? Are you on top of your hydration? Are you on top of your supplementation? And all of those small tidbit things, basically. Are you tracking your weights and reps? Are you like not taking a lot of stress outside the gym? So it's all solely done for the purpose of the bigger picture. So that basically is it. Yeah, so this guy is right now at 86 kilos. I want to push this guy. I'm not really concerned on the particular weight, but I want to push this guy up to anywhere between 87 to 88 kilos, but I'm not so fussed out about the weight. And then from there, I'm going to have this guy hold on to that particular weight, so that the muscle further becomes a bit more solidified around the bone structure and the body. And then from there, we're going to be running like a quick, aggressive mini cut, so that we clean the body fat a little bit, showcase whatever we reveal anywhere between something like 6 to 10 weeks. And from there, I'm going to put this guy back inside a surplus again, because the majority of your time, you need to be spending most of your time building muscle. So this was my strategy with him. Around training, we started off with 3 days per week, because that's what this guy could probably do. Around his jiu-jitsu and all of that, basically. But I fucking managed to convince this guy to, listen, dude, if you want to put on muscle, it needs to be more. 4 days per week is probably going to be better, because you've just done shit like fucking endurance, like running, VO2 max, and all of that Andrew Huberman shit, right? And the Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So you train your body to be an endurance machine, and there's nothing wrong in that. But right now, slowly and steadily, we need to oscillate towards like doing more of the explosive stuff, accumulating muscle, and being a bit more specific towards the goals. If you want to go and do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that's fine. But let's increase the frequency of the gym to 4 days per week, basically. I have him track his calories and macros, basically incorporate a moderate amount of protein, a moderate amount of carbs, and anywhere between low to moderate fat, right? And then once per week, he wants to go out and have like a bit of a off-plan meal with his girlfriend. I let him do that, but obviously we earned the right to do that. in this particular phase, 10,000 steps per day, and that basically is it. You really don't need much in a muscle gaining phase. You want to do the least to get the most. So this is the exact approach that I've taken. Once again, I am attaching his progress pictures up there so that you guys can have a look. This was his first cut, and then this was from the cut to the bulking phase so far, and we're still running the bulking phase, and we take it from there. So yeah, that is the transformation case study part 1. And if you want to avail any of St. Robert's services, if you want to improve your dating life, become a cool dude, right, become the type of guy that you want to be, date the type of girls you like, he's the man, in my opinion. And yeah, let's probably get cracking. Now, for those people who have been active on my social media, who've been active on my Instagram, who've been active on my YouTube, I recently returned back from my trip to Vietnam. I went to Vietnam at 54.7 to 55 kilos basically, and I came back anywhere between something like 55.6 to 56 kilos. So I just probably put on like a kilo over a span of something like 12 days, which was good enough. I'm happy with that, because in the past I would fucking eat like a motherfucker, right, on trips, and smoke a lot of weed. I did smoke this time, something like 2 to 3 times, but this time I was actually controlled. The third time I did overdo on my calories, but adding in GLP1, fuck me, it tremendously helps, like tirzapetide, because someone like me, my only kryptonite when it comes to bodybuilding is my fucking appetite, right? Like my fucking appetite. Don't get me wrong, I've done several cuts in the past without a GLP1, but at the end of the day, if a solution exists, sure, why not? And if it's safe, and if you're on top of your training, nutrition, sure, why not? Basically. So these are my photos, and as you can probably see, there are still striations in the lines. Right now I'm running a quick mini cut just so that I can resensitize, because when I finished my photo shoot in the month of January, the phasing up was not fucking pretty. I did binge a few times, so this time I'm actually doing it from a place of experience and practice, and I've switched from retatrutide to tirzapetide, so the food noise is much more better. I'm much more controlled, because this time I psychologically know what the fuck to expect, even though I knew in the past, but knowing is different, and knowing after going through the process is much more different. So yeah, like I'm running a quick little mini cut just to resensitize, and then from there, me and my coach have agreed to spend the majority of the year like slowly and steadily accumulating more progress inside the gym whilst eating more food, right, which is a slow and steady process basically. So yeah, but anyways, in this second segment of the podcast video, I'm going to be covering like how do I carry in a hypothetical universe, right? How did I carry peptides and testosterone to another country, right? Because, right, a lot of people have concerns on that shit, right? Now, as a responsible health and fitness coach out there who takes testosterone enanthate in a hypothetical universe, in an imaginary universe, just letting you guys know, and who also takes peptides like tirzapetide in an imaginary universe, this is what I did in that imaginary universe. That this is what I'm just going to let you guys know, right? For legal purposes, I'm going to say like, please don't fucking do it, right? But in a hypothetical universe, if you want to risk it, I mean, go fucking do it, but that's your choice. So health and fitness supplements like multivitamins, fish oils, blah, 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 that's not really a problem. And I just split it in one of these. This is actually super useful. Monday, Tuesday, what? 3, 6, yes, 6. So this sorts me out for 18 days, right? And some supplements I basically got from there. Some supplements I was like, fuck it, let me just skip it. It's not needed, right? You just take the bare minimum essentials like a multivitamin, zinc, magnesium, fish oil, and a vitamin D3. Shit like melatonin, it's not needed, right? Because your stress levels will anyways be lesser on holiday, and you'll sleep like a fucking baby, right? On holiday. Now, when it comes to carrying testosterone, right? Testosterone is a bioidentical hormone, and there are many pharmaceutical companies that actually produce it. So, in a hypothetical universe where most of the bodybuilders take exogenous hormones, right? There's a legal way to procure it, and that legal way is only available to you when you get a prescription from the doctor. And that mainly happens if you have low testosterone and you need to go on clinical TRT, which 9 times out of 10 is anywhere between 75 milligrams to 120 milligrams per week, right? Which is like the fucking feminist TRT, testosterone replacement therapy range. Now, if you want to go up to like above that, that's not TRT, that's like approaching bodybuilding territory. Even though in traditional terms, bodybuilders call it, that's a fucking low dose. So, like most of the people obtain their testosterone through underground labs or like through the black market, right? That's what I fucking did. There are many like underground laboratories out there that produce that shit for helping people build muscle and drop body fat, like helping people build muscle, right? So do realize that this compound is brewed in different types of oils, like MCT oil, which is coconut oil, grapeseed oil, cottonseed oil, or like arachia's oil, peanut oil, basically. So, and it looks a little something like this. I'm not going to show you the company of the, but it looks a little something like this, right? So it basically looks like one of those colognes or something out there. So what I did in that hypothetical universe was I basically put it inside my luggage and I put it inside my shaving kit so that it looks like one of those colognes. When I was returning back, I mean, I didn't give a fuck. I just put it inside my hand carry. I didn't really care about that. Now, when it came to my T3 and T4, the thyroid medications, right? Excuse me. In a hypothetical universe, right? T4, you get it from the pharmacy. So if you carry a T4, it usually comes in the form of pills. And that's not really a problem. But T3, it's pretty hard to obtain pharmaceutical grade. So you usually secure from the underground laboratory sources, and that also usually looks like normal pills basically. So I just placed like a sheet inside my luggage and that's fine. But I also have the pharmaceutical T3 and T4 and it looks a little something like this. Nothing suspicious, just sneak it inside your luggage in that hypothetical universe. Now when it came to peptides, that I was freaking out over that shit basically. Because the thing about peptides is, fuck it hell. Right, the thing about peptides is they denature pretty quickly, right? And they need to be stored in a controlled environment, in a cold storage. So what I suggest most of the people do is carry one of these insulin cooling kits with like a bit of an ice pack, something like this. And peptides, not really a fucking problem, right? Like if you're carrying something like 1 vial of a glp1, I mean, I was saying glutathione for health and benefit purposes, NAD+, GHK copper, BBC 157, and sometimes tirzapetide or sometimes retatrutide, right? I would alternate between the two. Right, GHK copper is for good skin, good hair. BBC 157 was for my just protecting my injuries and immunity and all of that. Glutathione was just for good skin, immunity purposes, and NAD+ was just to provide more energy from a cellular perspective and anti-aging perspective. And tirzapetide is just like a bit of an appetite suppressant. I just took a vial of tirzapetide. Just fucking took a vial of tirzapetide. And in order to, the peptides usually come like, I can't really show you a photo out there because it's in the fridge. But peptides usually come in the form of dried frozen powder, and you need to mix that with bacteriostatic water. Now bacteriostatic water is just water plus some form of antiseptic inside it, and you need to mix that with the peptide, and the liquid mixes with the powder, and bam. So I carried a vial of bacteriostatic water, put the peptides inside this. It was an insulin cooling kit. Even if you don't carry an ice pack inside it, you're fine for something like 6 to 7 hours. The moment you land, store your peptides inside the fridge, and you're good. When it comes to carrying syringes, don't fucking carry syringes. You can get off insulin syringes from the pharmacy. They're available all over the world. And that basically is it. Like, you can reconstitute or mix your peptides with bacteriostatic water through an insulin syringe. It's not a fucking big deal, right? And in a hypothetical universe in Asia, like in Vietnam, in Thailand, in India, right, the pharmaceutical industry is not that, I mean, there are many pharma companies out there, but it's not that tightly regulated. So, I mean, you can get a lot of stuff without prescription. I mean, I went to the pharmacy and asked, do you have benzodiazepines? And they were like, yeah. And whereas in a place like Dubai, you fucking need a prescription for that shit. But in like Vietnam, just directly gave it to me without any prescription. Excuse me. So, I mean, all of that good shit was available basically. Not that I purchased benzodiazepines, but I was like just a bit curious, right? So, no need to carry syringes, just carry the bare minimum and you're going to be fine. But now, if you're on a heavy steroid cycle, right, let's probably say like a primobolan enanthate, right? Or like a trenbolone acetate, right? There's no fucking prescription for that shit because those are, I mean, those are like, tren is fucking horses testosterone, like it's the testosterone that they give to cattle, right? So, if you get caught in the fucking airport, you can't even walk through customs, right? You're fucked. So if you want to carry any of that shit, carry it at your own risk. But I'll probably say like the best option is if you're going for something like anywhere between 1 week to 10 days or like 3 weeks, don't take anything because the half-life of these drugs is something like, depending on which compound you take, if you're taking the testosterone enanthate, the half-life is 7 days. So 7 days later, still half of the dosage is still going to be floating around in your bloodstream. Or what you probably can do is take double the dose before you go, so that your weekly dose is still going to be floating around in your bloodstream 7 days later, and you're going to be fine. Or just take a fucking vial and reduce. And if you're blasting, just come down to TRT dose and maintain, and that basically is it. If you're going for like a month or anything longer than that, then you need to arrange for stuff over there. And there are like tons of sources out there. It's fucking easily available. That's what I can probably tell you, right? It's there everywhere. But do all of the shit at your own risk. So yeah, these are my tips. What else? Now, as some of you might be aware, I recently switched from retatrutide, which is a 3rd generation GLP-1 drug, to tirzapetide, which is a 2nd generation GLP-1 drug. So tirzapetide is inferior compared to retatrutide. Tirzapetide is the compound sold under the popular brand name known as Mounjaro. Retatrutide is still under research trials, but it showed much more promising results than tirzapetide. Now, excuse me, tirzapetide is basically GLP plus GIP. GLP is glucagon-like peptide, which basically slows down gastric emptying, so the food remains in your stomach for a longer period of time, thereby controlling your hunger. And GIP basically is gastric inhibitory peptide or polypeptide. I don't really know how to exactly say, but basically what that makes you do is it makes your pancreas secrete more insulin, so it makes you more insulin sensitive. Whereas retatrutide is GLP plus GIP plus glucagon. So it does the same thing like Mounjaro, but the glucagon element of retatrutide basically increases your caloric expenditure from fat. So I've tried both, but I've had like much more profound and better food noise reduction at the back of my head. with tirzapetide, because like someone like me who's got a fucking massive appetite, like I don't have problems with emotional attachments to food and all of that, but I can fucking eat a lot of food, right? So I mean, tirzapetide worked so much more better for me. Yes, I do face some of the side effects like bloating and all of that, but that's fine because the food is in my gut for a longer period of time. But yeah, so things like semaglutide, which is the compound sold under the popular brand name like Ozempic, just as GLP-1. Mounjaro has GLP plus GIP. So the side effects of Mounjaro compared to Ozempic are lesser, but it's much more potent. But it's less of a potent appetite suppressant, and retatrutide is like an appetite suppressant plus a metabolic enhancer basically. So yeah, it really depends on what your challenge is, depending on which it makes more sense to use a particular drug, right? If you have good enough control on your appetite but need that slight food noise reduction, retatrutide is gonna, in my opinion, is gonna be better for you. But if you want that appetite suppression, either you need to take like a much more high dose of retatrutide or switch to a moderate dose of tirzapetide, or switch to a lower dose of semaglutide basically, right? Or if you want like the appetite suppression at lesser side effects but you also want slightly better fat loss, tirzapetide in my opinion is going to be better for you. Or if you just want appetite suppression, semaglutide, which is sold under the brand name Ozempic, is probably going to be better for you. But you don't really need to obtain any of the shit from the pharmacy, because that shit's a fucking ripoff and you can get it from any of these peptide resellers. So yeah, this has been my experience, and I'm on 3 milligrams of tirzapetide, working fantastically for me. I'd probably be taking a GLP-1 for a long period of time because there are benefits to it, right? Why not, right? It's reduced, like ever since I've gone on tirzapetide, I've spent less on food. My addictive behaviors are much more lesser. I mean, on retatrutide, it was even much more lesser. But on tirzapetide, fucking lesser. And I mean, I see the benefits of it. So I'll take it. I've got both. So yeah, you stack that shit up with testosterone replacement therapy. I mean, you got like a nice anti-aging benefit. Like, and for the people who are scared about the side effects, etc., just to realize like the side effects were present in those people who were fat as fuck, diabetic, and had like poor eating habits. So they went from eating like more shit food to less shit food. But if you eat healthy, you do your cardio, you train with weights, you're going to be absolutely, I mean, tons of bodybuilders have been doing this and they're fine. In fact, they're much more healthier. So, and like the mood is much more different. You feel much more calmer. So yeah, I mean, this has been my experience. So yeah, I know this podcast / video was like all over the place, but I just try to put as much value out there with regards to my experience with clients, experience of myself, the literature that I read. And yeah, people, if you found this useful, feel free to like, share, subscribe, just do whatever the fuck that you guys can to help me out there. And if you are someone who wants to drop body fat, build muscle, and build that perfect body through habit building and through education, with the help of a coach who still stays up to date with the research, still tries and practices things on himself, and has tons of results, then all you need to do is fill in the application form in the bio below, or in the whatever you want to call it, right? But if you found this useful, feel free to like, share, subscribe, and have a nice weekend.